at your previous convocation, Samra, you shared your story and the response was overwhelming. I think that was sort of your initial announcing to the world that here I am to change things. So you found your why, and you referred to Mark Twain's quote, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. And now over the past 2 years, it's been chaotic with the pandemic. People are questioning their own purpose. A lot of them are leaving their jobs. There's a huge health HR crisis that we're experiencing. So what advice do you have for others who are searching for their why? And what role do you think leaders and employers have in all of this?
So it's so great that you asked that, because I think, just like me, people have realized that life is too short and too precious to be in a hamster wheel. For decades, for ages, we have been convinced that we need to follow a certain path, a certain assembly line cut out, sort of like this path to success. You get your degree, you get a job at an entry level, then you keep slaving away and you work your way up and you please the right people, you build the right networks. There's a formula to success. And success has been defined as burnout, overworking yourself, getting the fancy job titles, the fancy car, the upmarket address, owning a house by a certain age, having kids by a certain age, having a partner by a certain age. Divorce is a failure. Getting laid off is a failure. Leaving your job, unless you're leaving it to get to a better job or a more high-paying job, is a failure. People who are living within their means are somehow too conservative, or they're not risk takers. Like, it's just such a convoluted, defined way of what success looks like. But then COVID happens and all of us are like, what on earth have I been doing all this time? We're forced to pause. We were forced to stop our hamster wheels, which again took us from doing to being. We went out of doing mode, this constant rat race that we seem to be in all the time. We're not competing against each other now. We're suddenly helping each other, listening to each other, supporting each other, realizing that our emotional and mental well-being is much more important than adding to the bottom lines of the corporations we work for. That there's more important things in life than having a paycheck. Yes, you want to live comfortably. All we need really, a lot of the things that we thought we needed, like the fancy dinners and the concerts and the big travel trips and all those things were taken away. And we realized we don't really need those. What we really need is this time with our family. What we really need is that human connection with each other and with ourselves. What we really need is what we have is we started having gratitude for what we have, which is a roof over our heads and food in our bellies and connection with our loved ones. And we realize what's important in life. And that means that, okay, now I'm going to value this. Life is too short. The pandemic in a way has taught us that life is so unpredictable. None of us could have ever in our wildest dream predicted. I mean, 2 years ago, none of us could have predicted we would be living in the times we're living in right now. And now we're like, wow, I was actually in a weird way missing life was just going by me and I didn't have time for my children. I was racking up the accomplishments on my resume for who? And it's like this, suddenly you realize what's really important in life. It's not the fancy job title. It's not the fancy trips that I can no longer take because of travel restrictions. What I really want is that connection and safety. And life is too short to give up on my dreams. Another 20 years will pass by. They'll pass by anyway. Mm-hmm. But I might as well spend them doing something that I love. You know, we always say, oh, I'm going to do this thing that makes me happy once I've done this. Right. Now you don't even know if that time will come, if you'll even live to that time.
Yes.
And we realize life is so unpredictable, life is so short, and we try to play it safe, but then something unexpected like a pandemic happens and everything turns upside down. Not play it safe and do the things that we want to do. Mm-hmm. Life is unpredictable anyway. Like, why not just do the things that we really want to do instead of fitting ourselves into this prescribed formulaic approach? And I think that's what I did. I quit my banking career and I applied to med school, and I'm like, I'm not going to give up on my dream. I'm going to do this. And I think a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are realizing there's more to life than being a corporate slave or earning a paycheck and then being tied to it. And people are starting businesses that they've always dreamed of. People are going back to school. People are thinking, I'd rather work for myself than work for a boss that is toxic and affecting my mental health. I want to work from home and I want to be with my family. instead of dressing up to the nines and going to the office every day only to be in a toxic workplace culture. My mental health is more important, right? People are prioritizing themselves. And that's why I don't call it a crisis, I call it an awakening, because corporations and employers are finally being jolted that you're not going to take advantage of people. You treat them with dignity and respect and fairness. Only then will you deserve my time. Otherwise, no, right?